This is a test to see if this will actually work, and if it does, how cool it will be. How's it going, everybody? You guys have been absolutely killing it on reviews, views, comments, all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to give everybody a quick shout out and say you guys have been awesome. Thank you for all the support. It's been I'm blown away. It's been really, really cool. So this is probably, I think, my third or fourth video today, actually. So what I'm going to be doing here in our setup is going through and configuring a vSphere distributed switch inside a vCenter server. Now, I'm actually creating, I've got a very large scale deployment going, and one of the things that we're doing is we're creating this setup for my BCP exam. So I'm really going to the hilt to try to get this stuff knocked out. So we're definitely going to be taking a deep look at how to set this stuff up. We're going to set up a vSphere distributed switch. So the idea here is to set up a vSphere distributed switch on 3 iSCSI hosts inside of vCenter 2. I've actually already got Milwaukee distributed switch 1 already working over here in the Milwaukee data center. I've got the Chicago data center working with a different vCenter. I got 2 vCenter servers running, and I'm going to be configuring the distributed switch here. So I'm going to create it. We're going to set up the port groups, the uplinks. We're going to go through the Vmkernel adapters, we're bringing in hosts, and then we're going to bring in some storage later on. We're going to get the iSCSI configuration brought in so we can move forward, because realistically I have to do that anyway in order to keep going. So that's what I'm going to be doing here in this video. So I'm hoping you guys are going to find this interesting. It's going to be a lot of click-by-click stuff, and so a lot of good stuff. So this is actually part of my preparation for my VCP exam. I don't know if you necessarily need to go this deep, but there's a lot of things that I want to demo as you get further along. There's, cross vSwitch vMotion. There's inter vCenter vMotion, being able to vMotion from one vCenter server to another, things like that are supported. So I'm testing all this stuff out, and this is the only way to test it out. So this is what I'm going to be doing here. So in order to create a distributed switch, it's actually really, really simple. You just click on Create Distributed Switch, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to name it. I'm going to say this is going to be CHI underscore dswitch1. We're only going to create one distributed switch in Chicago and one in Milwaukee. It is very possible to create a second data center and have just one host in there. However you decide to move forward in your setup is up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. And one of the things you have to be very careful on is making sure that you're going forward with the correct support level for vCenter server. So if your iSCSI hosts are, if your lowest supported version is, say, 5.1, that is something you're going to want to take into consideration when you're doing your distributed switch. All of my hosts are 6.0, so that's what I'm going to run with. The number of uplinks needs to be identified, and I'm not going to go into super deep a lot of detail. Simply for the fact that I'm trying to get this knocked out. It doesn't take a ton of time. It just, there is some time-consuming pieces to it. So I'm going to click on Next and Finish. So that's going to create the distributed switch. Now I'm going to click here, and that's going to bring me over to this guy. So here is this distributed switch. It has been created, but there's no port groups. There's no uplink mappings from the the physical side to the port group. So the physical side is always going to be the vMNIC attached to the distributed switch, and then you have the actual port group that associates to that. So I'm going to create 6 port groups. The first one is going to be management. I'll say MGMT, click on Next, and all the defaults, I'm just going to run with those, and click Next and Finish. And that's going to create management. I'm going to go ahead and create SAN1 and SAN2 for our ability to run multipath I/O for our iSCSI traffic. I'm going to go ahead and type in SAN1 and click on Next and Finish. And right now it's just a lot of repeat. SAN2 and so on and so forth. So SAN2 and next, and finish. Then we're going to do a vMotion one. So vMotion and next, and finish. We're going to have a HA and fault tolerance one. So HA-fault tolerance. Next, finish. And last but certainly not least, production. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that guy. I'm going to call this guy production. And click next. And finish. Alright, so now what we have to do is we have to map the port group to an uplink. So if you click on management, you see that we're associated to all of the network adapters. So in order to change that, you select the port group. So you select the hyperlinked port group ID, and then right here on this guy right here, you type in edit distributed port group. Now what you do now is you come over here and you click on teaming and failover, and you select links 2 through 9 or 3 through 9, and you just drop this guy down to unused uplinks. And you refresh the screen real quick, and then you'll see how these uplinks change. So they go to uplink 1 and 2. And then you do the same thing for SAN. The difference is when you're doing this, you actually need to go in and set it up so that SAN 1 is associated to uplink 3, SAN 2 is mapped to uplink 4. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm going to edit the port group, and I'm going to grab teaming and failover. I'm going to grab 1 through 3, or I'm sorry, 1 through 2, and drop all those guys down all the way to the bottom. And I click on OK. And that should take care of that one. I'm going to click on SAN 2 and just do the exact same thing, except it's going to be 1 through 3 and then 5 through 9. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and 1 through 3, drop that one all the way down, and then 5 through 9, and voila. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to quickly update the page so we know we're good. I'm going to click on vMotion. That's going to be 5 and 6. I'm going to grab that guy and teaming and failover 1 through 4. Drop these guys down, and then 7 through 9. And there we go. HA and fault tolerance is going to be 7 and 8. And do that one real quick. Teaming and failover, and 1 through 6, and then 9 gets dropped down as well, and then there we have it. The last but certainly not least, is going to be production. So production is actually pretty easy, just like management. We just grab teaming and failover, we grab 1 through 8, and done. That's it. So now we've got all of our uplinks mapped and to our port groups, which is a great first start, which is exactly what we need to do. The next part that we're going to do is going to be going in here and bringing hosts into it. So I'm going to click on add host, and I'm going to here I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to select new host. I'm going to select all 4 hosts, 4, 5, and 6. Click OK. And down here at the bottom it says configure identical network settings on multiple host template mode. That means is you don't have to go through and do the same configuration over and over and over again like I would have to do here. I'm going to choose template mode. What that's going to let me do is, I don't know if you saw that or not, but if you look right here, you're going to select template host. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to select host 4 to be the template. I'm going to do all my configuration on it, and then I'm going to replicate that down to 5 and 6. I'm going to click on next. And I don't have any VMs running right now, and I did this on purpose so I wouldn't have any hiccups. So if you're watching this and you've got hosts or VMs running and you run into a hiccup, I'm sorry, I don't have a solution for you at the moment because I'm not running into that. I'm going to click on next. And now we have to get into the meat and potatoes of actually setting up the vSwitch. So now we are going to do this on host 4, and then we're going to map that down to 5 and 6 down here at the bottom. That's what this apply to all is for. I'm going to grab this guy right here and bring him all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say switch 0. I'm going to go ahead and assign an uplink, and I'm just going to go from the top down. Uplink 1, click OK. Uplink 2, and just repeat the process over and over and over again. Oh, see, I screwed up there. This guy is supposed to be reset changes. Alright, so we'll do, well, I screwed up. So let's sign up link, and we're going to grab 2 and then just work our way down now. Alright, now that we've got that all situated, what you're going to see here is vSwitch 0 all the way down. Now if we scroll down, or I should say scroll up this a little bit, none of these guys are set up now. We're going to go ahead and click on Apply, All, and now they're all associated. See how that worked? So now I'm going to go ahead and click on Next, and now we have to do the Vmkernel adapters. This is where it gets a little time consuming, and you have to be very, very careful when you're doing your configuration. So vMk 0 is right now is do not migrate to the distributed port group. We're going to, or destination port group. I'm going to say assign port group. I'm going to choose management. Click on OK, and we have to go in and we have to go and add an adapter. We're going to select the adapter, and this is going to be for SAN 1. I'm going to click OK. Click Next, and this is going to be Next, and I'm going to assign the IP address of 10.1.2.44/24. Click Next and finish. One of the cool things about this is when we get to host 5 and 6, we'll just have to assign the IP address per vMkernel adapter, and it'll automatically map it for us. Grab a new adapter and just repeat the process. This is going to be for SAN 2. And grab the IPv4 settings and 10.1.2.54. I had to think about that one for a second. And next, and finish. So we have that one. We have 3 more to go. We have to choose vMotion, HA and fault tolerance, and production, and we'll be good. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Click Next. Select vMotion so it knows what services to listen for. Basically, you're just opening up a TCP port for it to listen to. And click on this guy. We're going to say 10.2.2.44 and a /24 mask. Click Next and finish. 2 more adapters. This guy is going to be getting mapped to HA and fault tolerance. Click OK. Next. And we're going to say fault tolerance logging. Next. And we're going to come in here and we're going to say 10.3.2.44/24. Next and finish. And the next thing we're going to do is our last adapter here is going to be for production. Grab production, click OK. Next, next, and this guy is going to be 10.4.2.44/24. Alright, so now that we've got all that situated, I'm going to click on Finish. Now, what we have to do, and we're going to bring this up a little bit. Now all the stuff we've done up here has to get mapped down here. So what's going to end up happening is I'm going to click on Apply to All, and you get this pop-up. It says, okay, tell me the IP addresses that I need to assign to the other hosts. So it's going to be 10.255.1.45, comma 10.255.1.46. And just repeat the process as you go down. 10.1.2.45, 10.1.2.46. Come down just a touch. For SAN 2, it's going to be 10.1.2.54. I'm sorry, 55. And 10.1.2.56. Scroll down a bit further. 10.2.2.45 and 10.2.2.46. You'll have to excuse me, I do have a bit of a cold. And 10.3.2.45 and 10.3.2.46. And last but certainly not least, 10.4.2.45 and 10.4.2.46. And that's it. I'm going to click OK, and we're going to click on, now you see right here, we scroll down, all these guys have been associated. Click on Next. There is no impact. What no impact basically means to you and I is that there's no vMotion, or I'm sorry, no VMs that are going to be affected by this. I'm going to click on Next and Finish. So that's going to go apply the information. You'll see here in the virtual machines it will be 0, but you'll see the network adapters will climb to 3 once this gets applied. It does take a moment or two to get done, but once it's there, we'll be in good shape. So I'll pause until that guy is finished. So our update did go through correctly. As you can see, we have 3 network adapters, 3 NIC adapters, and every one of the setups is good. So now what we have to do is actually expand this guy out, and you'll see that those are there. We're going to go over to the hosts, and now you'll get to see what a much larger scale deployment would look like. Instead of just a few hosts, we're going to have 6. So so anybody that's interested in knowing, I'm actually running all of the iSCSI hosts, so the hypervisor is running inside of VMware Workstation. Both vCenter servers are running inside of another iSCSI host that I have, and they are a Windows Server 2012 R2 box, each one of them. Both is running the Windows deployment. I'm not going to run anything for Linux based here. So the cool thing we're going to do now is we have to go to each host, and we have to associate the iSCSI configuration. So if you've never seen that done, be prepared to be enlightened. So to do that, you actually have to click on Storage Adapters, and you got to click on the green plus sign here. Click on Software iSCSI Adapter, create it, and I'm going to show you this once, and it's pretty simple. Unfortunately, you can't template mode this, so we're going to click on this guy, and then we have to go to a network port binding. So we have to map the iSCSI adapter to a VM NIC. So to do that, we're going to click the plus sign here, and I'm going to grab SAN 1 and SAN 2. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to go here to the targets. I'm going to add a target, which is going to be 10.1.2.1. 10.1.2.150. I'm going to click OK. So that adds that target. I'm going to go to Devices, and I'm going to go ahead and rescan for VMFS data volumes and storage devices. Momentarily, we'll have iSCSI storage. And voila, there we have it. So to repeat the process, it's real simple. Just go to here, and we're going to Software iSCSI Adapter and click OK. And then what we're going to do is click on the adapter again, network port binding. So you have to bind the Scuzzy adapter to the uplink. Do that. The one thing that you have to be aware of is you can't map one vMkernel adapter for storage to 2 uplinks. It won't work. In order for multipath I/O to work correctly, you have to have an individual vMkernel adapter mapped to an individual VM uplink. As long as you have that mapping correctly, you will be fine. If you do not, you won't be fine. Notice that none of the other uplinks are showing up. That's because we have a single vMkernel adapter associated to 2 uplinks over here on the right. Production only has 1, SAN1 only has 1, and SAN2 only has 1. And that's a vMkernel adapter to a VM uplink. So I'm going to go and click OK. I'm going to come over here to targets, add the target again of 10.1.2.150. And if you're wondering why I'm typing in the IP and not the FQDN, is because that is a computer that is not inside of a Windows domain. I'm going to click OK. Could I create a host DNS record for it? Sure. Do I want to? Not really. I'm going to click on devices, and I'm going to go ahead and rescan. And then momentarily we'll have that. I figure if I show you twice, you'll pick it up. You might, see it once and not quite get it. The second time you'll be able to, you'll pick it up and you'll be like, I got it this time. So the third host is pretty much the exact same way. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the adapter and go from there. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Once I have that in play, I will go ahead and go from there. So I'll pause until this is all situated, and then I'll show you how to register a VM to this vCenter. So now that we have everything situated, we can go ahead and move into the next section, which is going to be clicking on the storage here and expanding out vCenter, and let that go ahead and load. We're going to expand out Chicago, and then there's SAN. The cool thing about this is when you have it allocated all to the same stuff, you get all the same responses because it's all the same shared storage. So I'm going to click here on WinXP 1-2, and sorry, not that one. WinXP 1-4. And if you look right here where it says WinXP 1-4.vmx file, take this guy and click on it. Right click on it and go to register VM. And I'm going to rename this guy. I'm going to rename this guy 1-1 in the Chicago data center. Select that guy. Click next. And I had to choose a host to put it on. Up on Milwaukee, I have Distributed Resource Scheduler enabled, which utilizes vMotion to dynamically place VMs on iSCSI hosts based on utilization. And here I have to manually select the host. So I'm going to select iSCSI 6-4. I'm going to click next and finish. Because I do not have a cluster configured, and once this VM is registered, which it is, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Hosting Clusters tab, and now we have a VM associated. So the one thing that people often ask is when you have your host in a cluster, what's going to end up happening is the VMs will just show up underneath the bottom host. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're on that host. All that means is that since all 3 hosts are under one cluster, it's managed as one compute resource. And your host, or the VM that's inside that compute resource, is going to show up underneath that compute resource. So what you have to do then is you have to actually click on here and go to the Summary tab. What this will tell you is which host, and this one just happens to be an iSCSI 6-3. I could vMotion it, like right click here and migrate it. Migrate to the compute resource only. Click next and choose any one of these hosts. So you notice how I have a bunch of iSCSI hosts here. So this means I can vMotion between any of the hosts. So now I'm gonna vMotion to iSCSI 1 because this guy is currently on iSCSI 6-3. I'm gonna click on next, and I'm gonna choose the production network as where I need to go, and next and finish. So now it's gonna get vMotioned. It's in the process of relocating the VM. Even though it's powered off, it's still giving me vMotion. So that'll go ahead. That's completed now. Once it shows back up, there it is. And now it's on 6-1. So we just did a vMotion. Good stuff, right? So that's pretty much what's up with that. I hope you guys are digging these videos. I'm trying to do more and more of them as I'm going throughout my day and seeing what's going on out there in the remote world. So this actually is part of the lab that I'm building for my VCP, and a insider secret, this is also part of the VMware, one of the big VMware series that I'm putting together for INE. So just a little sneak peek of what you could see in the future. So so I hope you guys dig it, and thanks for watching. I do appreciate all the viewers, subscribers, likes, comments, all that type of stuff. Please leave feedback if you like. If you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. There's more of this kind of stuff coming out all the time. If you have an idea for something, throw it in the comment section. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I hope that this was informative for you, and I would like to thank you for viewing.